this is what the final result of what we're going to be doing looks like. Welcome to this video in which I'm going to be showing you how to make an online open world game inside of Unity using the networking solution called Photon Pun, which gives you the ability to connect up to 20 players for free, which is great. I just want to say all of them in this project is download an asset called Nature Pack, which is the poly asset that is going to help me show you the final result and also assign my scenes inside the build settings. The link for the nature pack will be in the description. So now to get started, we need to download two free assets, which the first one is Pun 2. While it's importing, we shall now go to the Photon website, which will be in the description. And then when you're in here, go to dashboard, and you'll be prompted to make yourself an account, but I already did. And after that, you need to create a new app in which the photon type, assign it to Photon Pun, and name it whatever you want. Like for example, I'll name it online open world. So now that is done, everything else doesn't need to be changed, so we can create it. And there you go, it's here. Now the most important thing is to copy the app ID, then go to Unity, and after your asset is done downloading, you should be granted with this pun wizard, in which just paste the app ID, and if everything goes smoothly, you should have this done and your project should be set up. So now after this is done, let's download the second asset, which is the Unity standard assets. All you have to do is just write standard assets. There you go. And also, if you don't see those assets in your package manager, it will probably be because you haven't purchased them from the asset store. So just go from there. They are free, so there is no need to pay anything. This asset will be used to get the third-person controller and the camera, which are really good because they're made by Unity. When we've imported all those scenes, we can now create an empty game object, call it game manager, and inside of it we need to make a new menu, a new script called menu. And in this script, this will basically control how Photon connects to Unity and how Unity connects to their servers and then joins a new room. So when we get inside of it, just follow me, and after that I'll explain what to do. So let's open Visual Studio, and first of all we need to assign using photon.pun. This just makes it so Unity knows we're going to use their engine. Then using photon.realtime, and after that you can go to the mono behavior and change that to pun callbacks, and here let's create a private bool called is connecting, Also, the source code will be in the description. Wait, sorry. So false private constant string game version. This will make it so that if someone with a different game version cannot connect to people with a newer version or older. So now we should create the int, which will be for how many are the max players per room, which will be 20 because that's the max players for free, so why not just use the maximum. So then let's create a void awake, which is basically like the start, just when the system boots. So Photon network, here automatically sync scene, which will mean when the clients are connected, if the master client, the host, uses a new goes to another scene, this will be synced, and so the other clients will follow him or her in the other scene, which is really good because this way everyone's on the same page. So sorry, search for game. This will be a void which will be called by a button, so that the client can say I want to connect to the other players, and then it will activate this sequence. Photon net network dot connected. This means after the Photon network is connected, then we join a random room. Or else Photon network dot game. So this is basically how we connect to the other players. After that, you can make another void, just public override void on connected to master, debug dot log connected to master. This will just help debug if we're connected to the master, so that it will help if they're to troubleshoot. Then is connecting Photon network dot join random room. So now that is done, let's go and create another void called, wait, let me go a bit down, public override void on disconnected. So when we disconnect, let's debug so that if we get disconnected, we can see why we got disconnected. So before that, let's put a $sign and then disconnected due to, and then place the cause, so why we disconnect, which Unity will give us. After that, need to create another public override void on random room failed. This means that if there are no rooms other than no there are no rooms we can connect to, we need to make one so that we can host it. So before doing that, let's debug.log so we know that's actually happening, and let's say no clients made any rooms. Okay, so now after we know that that's happened, let's create a room. So go ahead and photon network dot create a room, and then inside here let's say no slash new room options, and here we need to say our max players are going to be the max players per room. And there you go, that's it. That's how you create a room. Now if we join a room, let's say on joined room, this will tell us if we have created and then joined, and also if we have joined somebody else's room. So it says is no matter what we have created. So in here let's say debug.log client successfully joined room. There you go. So and then we can automatically go into the new scene in which everyone will be at. So we don't have to use a scene manager for this. We can use photon.load level, because this is the best way to tell everyone I am joining this scene, so that they can follow you if you're building that kind of game. But here in Photon, for example, this time we can use just photon network.load level. So that's basically it. If we actually save this code, so what's giving me an error? Something. What? Oh, sorry, forgot to put it there. So if we actually run this code, everything will be fine. Something in here. Yes, I basically what I do, and when I get this error, I just put it as text, and after that I just use the Unity UI, which fixes basically the problem. And then What else? Oh, we don't have any other problems. Good. So let's call it game manager. Now that we have the menu, we can now create a new button, which you can make it as good looking as you want. I'll just use this, and then call this button connect, and assign the on click void down click function to the search for game. And also in here, where you load the level game, put this as the name of the scene you want to use as your game. So if you have a scene, for example, my scene is this, where I have the nature pack on, and I want my people to instantiate in here, and so place it where you want your game to run and in. So now that we've actually said we want to search for a game, when we click on this button, we can see if it works. In the console, when we click, it should say we've connected to the master, and then we'll probably connect to the game. So let's see. There you go. So we currently do not have anything in here. We do not have a camera or anything like that. So let's set up the game scene. First of all, let's place our character in here. So character, no, we want third person, prefabs, and then like that. And also the camera, we want the free look one. In here I just like to create it the far distance to be to 500, and also so this will be the prefab that we're going to use, but this camera, it will stay in the scene, so that we don't have an attached cameras that stays like worse and kinda like it's stuck to you. We want the camera like this, which is like professional type. And to get it to when the player is instantiated, so the camera follows you, I'm going to use this auto target player. What this does is when the game starts, it searches for an object called tagged with player, and this means that when we start the game, if we see any other people that are not us, we should tag them other player. Like I've already done a tag. You just go to create and then put other player as a tag like this, then save it. So after this is done, let's set up our player. First of all, let's put a photon view, which basically tells the game that this has to be synced. Then a transform, a photon transform view. Then sync whatever you want, like scale, rotation, or position. Then we need a reach body view. I like to enable teleport for larger distances. So when there's lag, the player doesn't have to go through everything. It can just teleport. And then the last thing is animator, so we can see everything, the animations synced. Put everything to continuous, and After that, we have to create a new script, which I'll call the disable script, because basically when another player joins, we do not want control over the other player, want only to control our player. So let's open this script, and inside it, it's a really short script, but we have to say we're using photon.pun, and then here place pun, and uh, in the beginning here we need to say private photon view, in which is the component in our player, and then private also need to place the namespace unity standard assets, so that we can access the scripts made by Unity. Then place the brackets like that. After now that we've done that, we can get to the third person user control, and then to the third person character, which we'll call character. Now that we've done that, let's go to the start, where we'll get all the components without needing to assign them in the hierarchy. No, I mean in the inspector. So we can just get them exactly when we start the game, which is better, it's cleaner. And do that for every other component like that. Okay, cool. So then we need to check if we're the master of our player, and we say that by if the photon view is mine, then we want our player to be our objects tag to be player, like that. Or else we need to destroy the user, destroy the character, and destroy this at last. So let me fix this, and that's basically the whole script. We can delete the update function. Something I didn't do well was to actually set this as other player, because only if this is our player will make it the player. Well, so the character prefab is now done and everything is cool. So this means we can actually place it inside the photon unity and resources to make it as a prefab. original prefab. And then after that's done, just delete it from the hierarchy. This means whenever we place him, whenever we instantiate him, the game will load. And we basically put it in the resources because this is where Photon will look for players. Now after this is done, we need to create an empty called again game manager, and in there place a script which will instantiate the player. So we'll call instantiate. This script will be even smaller. It will, in it we'll just say again using Photon Pun, and then in the start function, in here let's reference the player, so the game object prefab, let's call it prefab. No, actually let's call it the player prefab, so we know it's the player. And then in the void start, say Photon network dot instantiate, which will basically it's like the Unity instantiate, but it instantiates for every player, so that every player can see what is instantiated. So player prefab dot name, and then comma new vector 3. This will say where we want our player to be spawned. I like it to place it as random dot range, so there is not a place that players will spawn exactly, because I don't want camping, spawn camping and stuff like that. So minus 10.0 f. This is a really small difference, but it's a difference. 10.0 f, and then slash 2f slash 0. Here again another slash for ternion dot identity. And yeah, that's basically the whole script. This is how it will instantiate the player. So yeah, now we can no, first we have to to assign the player, so right here. And now that's done, I think that should be basically it. So let's go to the menu and let's test it. Connect, and yeah, there you go. Now we can move with our character. We have instantiated him inside of the scene, and now we're going to run it with 2 different clients, so so that I can actually see if they see each other in the scene sync. So always remember to put your scenes in here, and now I like to put the full screen mode to windowed, and this is just rough estimates of how the width and height will be, but it helps me have two clients on the same screen. So let's build it. The time will depend on how big your game is, so if it's longer, don't worry. Okay, there you go. We also make another flare. Now if we connect this one, we should see this flare is in here. Really cool. But then if we also connect from this client, there you go. Wow, everything is synced, everything is right. I think that's a big success. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like this video or have any questions, problems or suggestions, just leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer as many as I can. Also, if you want to see a tutorial on how to sync, optimize or set up the world, you can tell me in the comments also. Now, if you enjoyed this tutorial and want to see more in the future, you can press the subscribe and like buttons, which will really support me. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.